All right, good morning. It is the CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Sorry I wasn't with you yesterday. I had a little sore throat. It was after 2.5 hours of the morning show. Heather was like, "You're not doing the 7:30 update." So when Heather says, "You're not doing it," I say, okay. Okay, Heather. It's good advice, yes.
So overworked.
So overworked, yes.
So overworked.
That's so tough. Katie Steiner's here with your CBS News Minnesota Morning Forecast. Katie?
Yeah, so we're starting off the day. Honestly, it's nothing spectacular. I was kind of hoping to be like super warm this morning. 26 degrees is where we are. So that's very similar to where we normally are this time of year. However, when we go into the afternoon, it is going to be a game changer.
Oh, baby.
By noon, we're at 43. That's already above our average high temperature for this day. And then by 4 p.m., 50. Our high temperature today is 52 degrees. So we'll see lots of sunshine today. So that means lots of snow melting, right? Because we've got the warm temperatures and the sunshine. Tomorrow, we'll see a little bit more cloud cover. So this is the debate of the day, right? Do you get a car wash? Do you not get a car wash? Because my car is dirty. I need to get a car wash. But it's going to be wet. I say go for it.
Okay.
I also, full disclosure, have an unlimited car wash, so like I can go tomorrow and Wednesday. So here's Jason's car wash forecast.
Yeah, for the cheapskates.
Yep, which is yellow, because it's going to be wet. It's going to be
So if you need to wash off the salt, do it.
Yeah.
Just know
you're probably going to
be a mess. Yeah.
You're going to get more salt back on.
That's good. I really like this specific Jason's car wash forecast.
I couldn't fit the word forecast on here, so I just went with Jason's car wash. I figured people would understand.
All right. Very good. Katie, thank you. That was fun. Let's talk about this. A COVID milestone. It was 2 years ago on this date that Governor Tim Walz had a news conference and sent all K through 12 students home. Remember this? All the schools were closed on this date 2 years ago. The next date, the 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day, the governor took all restaurants and made them takeout only. For me, St. Patrick's Day is sort of the milestone. You're like, whoa, that was the first St. Patrick's Day where everything, all the restaurants, all the bars were closed. But today is the day that all those students were told that they were not going to be going to school. What a 2 years it's been. Of course, so much sickness, so much loss of lives, but also schools have managed to go completely to a model where they can go to distance learning. Your workplace has perhaps adjusted to a situation that was unthinkable 2 years ago, that you are able to do your job from home. So today on the CBS News Minnesota Morning Update, we're looking back. What should we have done differently? What are you amazed about that we've gotten through over 2 years? Just kind of a time to take note, looking forward, but also looking back. 2 years ago on this date, it got real, right? When the governor told all those students that schools were going to be closed. We'll share some of your insight and comments. Leave those on the Facebook page, and we'll read some of that in a moment. 1 weekend now on the teachers' strike in Minneapolis. Families, well, the big question is, if this strike goes on, are kids going to be going to school all summer? What's going to happen? So far, Minneapolis students have missed 5 days of school. That's a week while their teachers are fighting for higher salaries, smaller class sizes, mental health support for kids. The district says elementary school students will need to make up that missed time. State law requires it. So once you're past 5 days, they'll have to do it. But for the older kids, they're still figuring out the plan. The teachers union says, of course, look, whatever the plan is, we have to agree to it. Talks do resume at noon today. A deadly police raid that happened, well, we talked about it on the morning update because we saw the police activity just behind us. We hope it will be the last of its kind, and it's possible that the way this all started to go down will never happen again. Mayor of Minneapolis Jacob Frey is proposing a new policy that would truly get rid of no-knock raids. You'll remember as he was campaigning, he said he got rid of no-knock warrants, but he didn't. That is the tactic that police used when they shot and killed Amir Locke last month. The mayor announcing that police will no longer be allowed to apply for or be allowed to execute these controversial warrants. State law does allow officers to enter without knocking in circumstances of extreme danger. Think a hostage situation. But outside of those exceptional situations, MPD will use knock and announce warrants. So if officers do have to force their way in, which happens, right? We need officers to be able to go after killers and wanted suspects. But now they have to wait at least 20 seconds first. And the mayor says he believes this is the most forward-thinking warrant policy in the country.
And this is really an opportunity to be a leader nationwide on search warrant policy. We want to do this right, and the implementation of this new policy and the added layers of accountability are really critical steps towards rebuilding community trust.
Fry says officers will be trained to kind of break in the door, hold in the entryway. They'll have ballistic shields to keep them safe and other protections as they try to call out the people in the home. The policy is expected to be formalized, finalized, written down in the next 3 weeks, and then training will begin for police. A native Minnesotan could make history in the next couple of hours. The Iditarod sled dog race. Here we go, the home stretch. Standings show Brent Sass left the final checkpoint in first place. He's about 20 miles ahead of his closest musher. He was born in Excelsior and moved to Alaska more than 20 years ago. He was like 19 or 20 when he moved to Alaska. And the latest word out of Alaska is the winner should cross the finish line between 8 and 9 this morning, our time, and we would love it if a Minnesota native, one of us, wins the Iditarod.
Make up my mind.
This morning, a Twin Cities baseball team is in jeopardy of missing a big tournament in Arizona. Anyone who's gone on a flight around spring break time can relate to this. Train wreck. Anoka Ramsey Community College baseball team. They fundraised. They did all the work to go to the Tucson Invitational. They haven't been able to go the last 2 years because of COVID. So, boy, they were excited. About to go to the airport a couple hours before the flight, the team's coach, Jason Salisbury, gets an email that says, sorry, flight canceled, no explanation given.
That's when I was on hold for, I think, one call was 2.5 hours. The other one was 45 minutes. It's one of the highlights of our season, and to be in this situation now is pretty disappointing.
Yeah, to say the least. He eventually got a hold of somebody at Sun Country in Salisbury. Look, I mean, you also understand where Sun Country is coming from. All their flights are booked, so they canceled this flight. And so what they said is they're like, well, we could split the team up into 3 different groups, fly them in one at a time tomorrow into Phoenix. And it's a couple days later than what was the plan. And then they still have to drive into Tucson, a 2-hour drive. By that point, half the tournament will be over. You know, we reached out to Sun Country, and they were like, busy spring break, short-staffed. It's created more of a challenge trying to rebook things that go wrong than in previous years. So rough deal all the way around. St. Paul Saints fans are going to notice some fun changes on the field this season. Major League Baseball is using the minor leagues to test out some new stuff. So they're going to have larger bases. It's not going to be comically large. This is not like fast pitch softball with the double base. But they'll be a little bit larger, and the idea is to maybe help with injuries. They're going to have a timer on the pitches to try to move the game along. And then automated umpires. This is something that I hate and a lot of people like. So you'd have like a camera.
Interested. Why do you hate it?
So, well, you'd have a camera that would kind of be the strike zone. Mm-hmm. It would just be automatic calling balls and strikes.
Yeah, it's like tennis.
I like the fact that there's human error. I think it makes the game more interesting, more exciting. And I think this idea that we can reduce everything to like a video replay, like at a certain point, you know, we want to move the game along. And I get it, like you can post a screen grab on Twitter and make the umpire look like an idiot. But when they analyze this stuff, the umps are right, like in the 90% of the time. Like, sure. That's good enough. Good enough. But we want it to be perfect. So we'll try it out. Maybe my mind will be changed.
Why would you settle for good enough when you can have perfection?
Well, because I think you can't. And if you believe that the computer strike zone box, like the strike zone is kind of it's always like, is it here? Is it here? Is it when you squat? Where is it? Like, I don't know. I like the human error, but you know, you guys watch this program. You know I love human error.
You're good at it.
Pretty much. It's my hallmark. Another cargo ship, speaking of error, We got a stuck cargo ship. At least this time it's not in a canal, so it's not blocking other traffic. But this is the Ever Forward ship that is not going ever forward at all. It has run aground in the Chesapeake Bay in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. Coast Guard trying to figure out why this happened. It's not causing traffic issues. The Baltimore Sun reports that, yep, it is the same company that owns the Ever Given, which blocked the Suez Canal last year and caused major global shipping problems. We love Dolly Parton, and more evidence why. Dolly Parton was one of the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Dolly was like, this is awesome, but I'm not a rock and roller. I'm a country artist. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame kind of expanded the definition of people who could be nominated. The idea was if you had people in their other genres that had a crossover or made an impact on rock and roll, that they could be nominated. And Dolly said, I'm grateful, but I don't feel I've earned the right. And she didn't want to take votes away from other nominees. She would have been a lock, but good for her. Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson is now dating space. Yeah, who hasn't Pete Davidson dated? He's in a relationship with Kim Kardashian, I believe, right? Are they still together? I think they're still together.
I hope you're not asking me that question because you know how my pop culture.
I know. You don't know any of this stuff. Have you even heard of Pete Davidson? Are you familiar with Pete Davidson?
I was really hoping you weren't going to ask that question.
Yeah, you just like absolutely live in a time warp.
I know Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, Pete has dated just about everyone, and now he's going to space. One of the 4 people on board. This is the Jeff Bezos rocket, right? I think there are a lot of people who've wanted to launch Pete Davidson into space, so what the heck? Here we go, going off from Texas next week. Let's get back to, well, we're all just jealous, let's be real. Like, it's Pete Davidson's world and we're living in it. Here we go. 2 years since all of the schools were shut down. Maggie May, Governor Walz did everything right, in my opinion. We all thought it would be done in a couple months. We sure did. 0% chance that I thought we would still be talking about this 2 years
For real.
later. But I distinctly remember that weekend when it started getting real. And Sunday morning, the Sunday that this happened, I had lunch reservations and canceled them. I was like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right.
Interesting.
And then, of course, everything got shut down.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maggie. Here's Tamara. We should have ensured our teachers would be properly thanked and valued after all they have done, other than medical professionals. No one has sacrificed more than our teachers. The teachers did have to do, like, essentially 2 jobs where you were doing distance learning and also you had all your lesson plans for in person.
What a nightmare.
Teaching was tough. It was tough. And you're teaching your own kids at home, too. Thanks, Tam. Here's Annette. I think the pandemic should have been handled different, period. This has put our whole world in turmoil. Yeah, teachers are striking and kids are missing more school. I don't know the answer. Trump should have set a better example. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of research on whether some of the interventions we did worked. What I wish when people would discuss this and debate it, you should come at this from a perspective of this was an unknown.
And unprecedented.
Completely. If you think like our leaders purposely wanted like to shut down the state or the country, like that's crazy. Yeah. Why would they have wanted to do that? I think they were doing what they thought was right. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't.
And nobody knew.
But we didn't know. We'll learn a lot as we look at some of the data. Thanks, Annette. Here's Becca. Yeah, I remember thinking it'd be over by summer. So impressed with how teachers handled distance learning. Distance learning with my preschooler were nuts. Was nuts.
Gosh.
Those are my heroes of the pandemic for sure. The healthcare professionals and the teachers, but also the parents.
Especially of young kids. Oh gosh.
Yeah. We have teenagers. They were able to handle themselves. It was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. I really have no complaints. And I came to work every day, so my life really wasn't changed that much. But my sister-in-law had a 4 and a 6-year-old.
Oh my gosh, the worst ages.
Correct. Yes.
For that period.
Yeah, trying to teach the kids like how to use like the computer for
Internet.
The distance learning.
Oh my gosh.
Also trying to do your own job. Also like trying to keep your family safe.
And alive.
and alive. 2 years.
Sad.
A lot has been accomplished. A lot. I mean, no one wanted this to happen, but seeing the perseverance and seeing some of the creativity as people have gotten through, I think, is something to kind of push us forward as we enter a more normal state and think of all the innovation, the hybrid workplace, all of that. So good stuff. Thank you all so much for your input here on the CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. We'll have total coverage of all your breaking stories all day long, streaming on CBS News Minnesota, and we'll be back here tomorrow.